a note to self, but then using it as an ad. Your marketing may not fit some of the tools that are out there.
That if you can see the proof, you're way more likely to want to hire him versus other people.
That's actually more important to talk about than the listing.
Look for ways to adapt it to your market. Don't just take it and post it.
You should focus on making higher quality content and then focus on distribution. But if you
Yeah.
fold like a cheap picnic chair, well, then in
Yeah.
that case, find something else.
Yeah.
You got to build the business you want to run.
I don't even think this would be like a bold claim, but I would be willing to put money down that more agents.
Welcome to the Leads Are Shit. I'm here as well as Andrew Foliato. Andrew Foliato is the founder of Just Sell Homes, a real estate marketing company that helps realtors just sell real estate, and also the owner of Real Estate Magazine, hence his new mic.
It's pretty
Looking
fancy.
sharp over there, Andrew. And my name is Taylor. I'm a real estate team leader in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Uh, I like to talk about marketing and sales. That's mostly what we do here.
My mic just screwed up. So I didn't hear anything you just said, but I'll assume it was about how handsome I am.
It was more or less. I would say that it's like
Yeah,
maybe a 7 out of 10 of intros that we've done.
it's good.
There's room for
I'll take a
improvement for
7.
sure.
Yeah.
But mostly, I'm talking to all the people that showed up live here because you can do that. You can show up into our Zoom studio audience. Is that what we call this?
It is.
And you can join people like Craig. Craig is
Thank you,
here.
Leanne.
Yeah. And those people that are here, we highly suggest that you introduce yourself into the chat so that people know where you are. Good to see you, Craig. Good to see you, Leanne. And
Greg
everybody
is
else,
always here, even when we don't want
note
him.
takers.
All right.
I have a very spicy bulldog.
You got your bulldog there?
Yeah, he is trying to start trouble with the other one.
Oh,
Say hi,
yeah.
Louie. He's freaking out. Yeah, so this is
That's
Louis,
pretty
and
good.
then I also have Ruby in here as well. But
Nice.
Louis is trying to
Mine's
play with me
asleep.
and is a cousin of Ruckus, and Ruby is being a
Yeah.
good girl, not doing anything.
Like you might hear snoring from mine right now, but that's about it.
Hmm.
That's pretty good. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So,
totally agree. He looks like
yeah.
a gremlin. I look like his pet. It's bad. But Leanne's trying to pump my tires. So
Craig is doing the opposite.
it's working out well. He's working out well.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
little
so
back and forth.
we've been talking about a few things, different concepts over the last few weeks. Really, I guess I should probably report some results. So now we are trying to grow our insiders list.
Yeah.
So our insiders is a new list because people are really interested in property around us. So we've been talking about it and working through that. The other things that we've been doing is looking to maximize our listings, and also to get our marketing a little bit more organized. So Andrew has been giving me video um, assignments, and I've been going out to execute those to the best of my ability. I'm doing a shoot this afternoon in a great
Perfect. Which
looking
one's that
house.
for?
That's for the listing presentation
Nice.
that we were dialing in last week.
Perfect. Because use that one. Yeah, that's why I was
So,
playing with the AI version of you to see if I could help you out with that.
and I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
catching up on that, I've been putting out a bunch of video. We have some new listings coming this week, so that's been going really well. And then we're also just running through the spring market. Like I'm putting up 5 listings today, and we expect 4 of those listings to be in multiple offers by Monday.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one, by the way, just as some insight into the list growth campaigns we're running for you.
Oh,
Um, so we had you shoot the videos, which
hmm.
good videos. And we also created one that's an image. They
Yep.
both have generated 10 leads this month.
Let's go.
The video is at 9.95 a lead.
Hmm.
The still static image 521.
I'm being outperformed by the static image.
Which is pretty common for so like here's when I'm looking at video for ads. This is what I was telling people. It's like you will get better quality leads coming off of video, typically. You'll get more leads off an image. Because video gives more opportunity for someone to say, I'm out. This isn't for me. Whereas that doesn't, whereas like images are more, it's like similar when we like advertise listings. If we just want the most volume of leads, we just give them an image of the exterior
Hmm.
because you're going to get more people be like, well, I want to see inside. I want to see the rest of it. If we do a full video of the house, people will start going through and be like, oh, I'm out. Not for me. So it's
Gotcha.
that play of which one will show. Now, there have been the odd time a video has outperformed
Hmm.
for quantity. So we always like to test it. But right now, it is almost double the cost per lead. So I think we will, for this one, since the goal is list growth, we will shortly be turning off the videos for it and
Interesting.
then going all in on image variations and
Okay,
testing
so
that route.
this is basically the live A/B testing.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is that we tried a couple of attempts. Now there is one that's starting to be a clear winner. So we are going to drop the other one and try variations of the one that looks like it's closer to the mark to improve the results.
Yeah, exactly.
These are all the things I don't have time to do, man.
Yeah, that's
So I definitely
why we're
appreciate
here.
it.
All good.
So that's super awesome. And it's
Uh,
also way better when somebody who's skilled that does this, like,
is
that
looking at it.
pays way more attention than realtors pay,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that's part of the beauty of it all. We're here to
Hmm.
help. We get to try different things. And then the other one we always like to try with ones like this is the Apple Notes screenshot app. That
Okay, so
might
I
be
had
coming
tried
soon.
that one before,
Yeah.
and but I haven't had like tried it with you before.
Okay. Did you try for list growth for
I
this,
did
or
not.
what was the offer for last time?
The offer was for, well, no, it was to grow that list. It was like my first attempt to grow that list.
Yeah. Well, it might actually be in the ad account if you ran it as a paid ad. I might
I
be able to
did.
see it. Yeah. Oh, I think I even found it here.
There
So
you
you
go.
did it as a link click, so I can't see how many people signed up. Now let's see the actual preview here. All
So what
right.
we're talking about
Okay.
is imagine taking Notepad and putting a note to self, but then using it as an ad.
Yeah.
So then
So
it would be familiar because a lot of people know notes. And then in there, it's very easy to read. And you could be targeting something that's on their mind.
So a couple things that I would change about that before we like not that there's anything specifically wrong, but you had a decent cost per click. So then it's just what are the opt-ins on it, which I can't tell from the ad campaign right now.
Mhm.
Is but I think before we started, you only had 9 on the list, so it couldn't have been that many. Um, so one, like you did a straight screenshot of your app, and
Mhm.
you're in dark mode. Dark mode doesn't get as many clicks.
Ooh,
It's one of those
what's
because
up with
more
you guys?
people are used to seeing the light mode version of. So, like, what we're
So
trying to
it's
mimic
less
here,
familiar.
yeah, what we're trying to mimic is like a handwritten note of the internet. And so, the more we can make it how most people use it, the more likely it is to work. So, Notes apps also, a lot of people don't use emojis in their Notes app because they're just like
Mhm.
scribbling notes. Because what we're trying to essentially get people, what gets them to stop and look is like, think of online how many people like post apologies and they actually just screenshot their Notes app because they can't fit it in a regular post. So people like they're
Mhm.
more likely to stop me like, oh, what are they sharing here? Emojis, now you've gotten rid of that. Oh, this isn't in the moment I typed it feeling already because they got to switch into the emoji keyboard and do all that. So we don't put emojis in those. You also formatted a bit with like some bullet point. I don't format like that, just straight text. And then you also put text as part of the ad as well. So when I do these ones, I get rid of all that.
Hmm.
And the only text is the image itself.
So that way you're limiting distraction.
Yeah. And it's just a straight screenshot of that. And then, like, the one thing that this is an annoying thing with Facebook ads, which is happening here because I can tell by the previews. Um, and this is something you especially have to turn off for ads like this, is sometimes they'll take just the creative and like the photo and they'll like zoom in on it and then just show part of the image. But
Hmm.
just showing part of your image is black space.
Not
So
optimal.
No, not for this style of ad. Some listings that might be able to work if it like right there's scenarios where that can work. This is the problem with trusting AI ad optimizations. If you're running
Hmm.
ads at $500 a day, which is really who that's meant for, that's fine. Because like yeah, if a couple ads screw up, they don't work as well, that's like $10, whatever. But if your campaign is $15 a day total, and they're messing with it that way, that has a much bigger impact overall, and it's harder for them to make those optimizations. So, like a lot of those things where people are like, oh, you got to use turn on the Advantage Plus, turn on all these auto recommendations. Those recommendations are one generally built for e-commerce, not what we're doing, and two, they're built for really big budgets that can rapidly test things like that. When we're going smaller budget, you have to be way more honed in and dialed in. Like I was consulting with someone who was not an agent. It was an interesting one, and they were trying to target realtors with their campaigns. This is in the US. They're trying to target American realtors. There's roughly speaking 1.2 million realtors in the US, roughly. Their audience was 100 and 100 to 120 million people. And I was like, no, like you can narrow the agent audience down to like 1.2, 1.4, maybe 1.5 if you want to give it a little breathing room. But like, why would you target 100? And they're like, no, no, we run campaigns, we go broad and let the algorithm optimize. I'm like, yeah, but if I can even get down to 1.5, I'm already narrowing it to the entire industry plus or minus 100,000 and then let it optimize. And so, but this is the problem with like people are used to going to like mass consumer. They're like, no, no, just go broad, go broad, go broad, and then let it figure it out. But imagine this part if it started here and then did that. And
Hmm.
so you have to be able to kind of narrow those constraints a bit when you have either
Yeah.
lower budgets or hyper targeted audiences. And that's where like those AI optimizations are built is for the mass markets with big budgets. Like Facebook, what the typical agent that advertises on Facebook spends in a month, Facebook really that's what they want you to spend in a day.
Yeah.
Like
And
you're not
if they're
doing full
optimized at
quote.
anything, it's taking your money.
Yeah,
Like
like
what they're
they're
set up for is to say,
advisors.
like, listen, I see that you would like to find the needles in this hay. You
Yeah,
want more needles? Buy more hay.
yeah.
And
I
it's
want a
like,
magnet.
no, yeah, we need something else to make this work. A magnet
Yeah,
would be fantastic. Let's just get
yeah,
the needles out of this hay, right? Nobody else, also, nobody wants to buy hay with needles in it either. You know,
yeah. It sounds like a horrible idea.
we got to separate these two things for safety purpose.
Yeah,
But that's something that a lot of people miss is your marketing may not fit some of the tools that are out there. Knowing which
yeah,
tools will work and which one won't, knowing where there's limitations. The biggest mistake is like putting it in the wrong geography. Like real
yeah.
estate's so geographically specific.
And this is even just by mistake. We see it all the time too. Is like they'll come on and like, sometimes if you make a change in one place, it resets settings somewhere else. So like we've seen a lot of people end up like their ads are cross Canada, but it's like they had originally set it to their area, and then they made a change over here that reset it over there. So it's always good before you hit publish, go check the settings again. If you're not familiar with which buttons make those changes. But like we've seen that time and again where, and the other place where people make this mistake is retargeting ads, is they still make their retargeting ads broad in terms of targeting. Like you can make it maybe a little bit broader, but I still wouldn't like, for example, like if you ran retargeting ads and you said, everyone's been on my website, you would probably be now running a lot of those ads to like people who watch the show who like the episodes where we were like going over your website, they're probably all going to check it out.
Mhm.
Now, why would you pay to reach them with like ads to drive leads for yourself? And there's all types of things like that that happen all the time. So it's like you still want to narrow down your retargeting to those who could potentially do business with you. There's
So
again
talk to
a
me
few
about
exceptions.
where I am on the JSH path. So we kind of like I imagine that there's base camp and then upper base camp and then you try to summit. Is that the deal?
Yeah, pretty much. So right now we're still kind of the later early stages of testing different things. So like we For example, like that video you sent that we tested against the image. That was a good enough video to me that that tells me that an image will outperform. Like
Mhm.
sometimes we'll get a video like that. It's a horrible video that was shot from like an ad's perspective. So we have to go back to them and get them to shoot multiple times to give us a good idea if video is going to work for them or not. Um, your video was good enough to know that I think for that type of campaign, image is going to work better. So now it's narrowing that down to the best image for you or the best series of images.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm really hoping to bring to the table in this relationship as well. Like I'm probably 20 to 25,000 videos done in
Yeah,
my career now. So being able to understand how not to make the common mistakes,
yeah,
show up with something that will look good, understand that hook to bring people in off the get-go, or that interesting flash. In this
yeah,
video, what it was is I was standing next to a coming soon sign, but I was kind of kneeled down. So then
yeah,
when I started to move and it revealed the house behind me as I was talking about how the insiders already knew about this, that was kind of the idea behind the
yeah,
video. And we were able to pull it off well enough that now we get to move on. Now we get to go A/B test these images
yeah,
because that first shot was a good shot.
yeah,
Same thing later today. I'm going to a lovely house that we just sold, and I'm going to do the listing video that Andrew and I were talking about last week.
yeah,
And we're shooting for something that will, I'm probably going to send you a couple of versions. There'll be the 5 minute version as requested, and then a couple of shorter, more compressed versions that are more based on our back and forth last week.
yeah. So for the people who weren't here last week or the other weeks we talked about it, this is a what we're going with is this concept of a 5 minute listing presentation. So Taylor typically like his listing presentation does a really good job of closing clients. So we're condensing his listing presentation into a 5 minute video and just trying to get the most amount of people to see it because his value prop in his area is strong enough that if you can see the proof, you're way more likely to want to hire him versus other people. So there's a little bit of we just want to get this in front of the most amount of people. Where can we see his videos? So right now, the ones that we're testing are done what we call like a dark post, which is a term that hasn't been used in like 10 years, but essentially is what it is, which means it's a paid ad. So the only people who see it are technically in the targeting that we pick. It's not like on his feed. Now, there is what's called the Facebook ad library. So you can look up the ads of any page that's actively running ads and see every variation they're running, every type of ad they're running. So if you ever want to see what ads someone's been running, you can go there. So like sometimes what we'll do is like we'll look up who are the top agents in an area, like online, and go look up what ads they're running to see like, and then we look for has any of the ads been running for more than 3 months? Because if someone's keeping an ad running for 3 months, it means it's working, typically. Sometimes they're just lazy and they're not paying attention, but typically 3 months for most people, it means that they're working. So we kind of will
Okay,
go to people.
I'm wondering if I share, will the audio work?
You in the settings there somewhere, there's like a share computer audio as part of it.
Oh shit, I just saw that. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back. I've got to go and hit share again. Then I've got to go there and check off share sound. Let's go.
Well, did I
Oh,
forward you the woman who did the listing videos that's going like super viral right now? Who does like the Trump impersonation? She's from Tampa. Did I send that to you?
whew, the insiders are excited about this property. In fact, they're already booking their opening day showings, even though it's not on realtor.ca yet. And so could you. You just need to click this link. You can become a Hack & Co insider, and then you'll know about hot properties even before they come to realtor.ca.
It's not
Okay,
as
I think
choppy
that
as
it
that
kind
when you
of,
see it.
yeah, but that'll give you the gist of it.
Yeah. So when after the show, go on Instagram and look up Tampa underscore Bree, BRE. She's got now like 90,000 followers, millions of views on her listing videos. So the one that just recently went the most viral is she's like, this is in Tampa. She's like, this home, Trump would love it. And then she just
Oh, I've
starts
seen her. I've
going
seen
into
her.
like a
Yeah.
impersonation of Trump's got so many bedrooms, so many bedrooms. And but all her videos are actually pretty funny and they're getting so many views.
Hmm.
Um, so it's pretty, but it's like a very like specific humor that on like a very wide group of people are enjoying it. But that's an
Yep.
interesting one for me of like as a marketing thing. Is because like when I pull up even now, so like yesterday when I went to her account, it had 90,000 followers. Now it's at 103. Only two agents I knew were following it. Now there's 27. So now the question will start becoming, okay, she's doing really well from a view count. Is it now going too broad where it's actually not going to help her sell homes because now local people aren't seeing it? It could still be
Well,
blowing
it
up
is too
locally.
broad.
Yeah.
Like we know that based on the follower count and who's following her and who she's attracting and the fact that you and I are seeing it and we're way outside of her market. You and I are not eligible
But
buyers right
Tampa
now.
is the type of place though that attracts, like, for example, a lot of snowbirds, a lot of people coming from other areas. So they're in Florida where she is, you can make an argument for a broader appeal.
You can, but only if you convert
Yeah.
it.
But that's
So
what I mean,
the
like
product
you
is the
have to see.
process. Well, what I'm saying is that she might not be set up to convert any of this. She might have
Yeah.
just found great at video ideas. Now that's the job.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
you are able to do something like this, the job is looking over your shoulder to see who's following you. If it's a whole bunch of out of towners, you might have to make new to town content in order to get this
Yeah.
to convert.
You know what you
If
should
it's
do
a
is
lot of real
invite her
estate
on.
agents, you could do what Tom Story did and sell a course.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
up to
that's
you
the
to
most common
monetize
way,
that. But
right?
right now, what we can see is that she's making great videos.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here is like where does that go from there? Like there's another agent in Calgary, I spoke with him in Banff, Tyler Hassman. Does a great job with listing videos, millions of followers and views and all that, but basically doesn't sell real estate. But he is
Hmm.
very open about that. Like he refers out people, even if they try to buy in his area, he just refers them out. His business now is he charges people like you to go and like shoot the video for them. So like he'll go shoot a video for your listing because that's what he's really good at. His name's Tyler in Calgary. Tyler Hassman. I You'll recognize he has the big like wide brim hat. It's part of his
Hmm.
like standout on social because I look different. But like he's an interesting one. But like that was a similar one where I was told I was on a panel with him. Like, well, I want to see what he's like because some guys will pretend they sell real estate when they have those big followers. I appreciated he didn't pretend that he was a
Well,
top
there's a lot of
producing
guys that
agent.
feel really sensitive about that. And that's
Yeah,
because it's true. And what I mean by
yeah,
that is everybody in their audience is like, man, if I make videos like you, I'm going to do more real estate. And that's not true.
no.
If you do videos like this, you might get to stand in front of a whole bunch of agents. But there are a few people out there that they're considered to be video influencers in real estate. They're the people that we follow for good ideas on video, but they're doing it wrong. They're literally doing real estate to make videos as opposed to
Yeah.
making videos that sell real estate.
I don't even think this would be like a bold claim, but I would be willing to put money down that more agents with like 700 or less followers sell 100 plus deals a year than agents with 10,000 plus followers.
Totally agreed.
Like, and it's not, and like, and not even just as a straight number because there's so many less people, 10,000 followers, like even as percent of agent audience or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like, it's the
Well, we
amount
had
of
Andy C
people.
on here. The
Yeah.
only thing you can find on Andy C is him climbing. He has climbing videos.
Yeah.
And it's just him climbing. It's not even him doing like how to or anything else like that. Arguably one of the best realtors on the planet.
Yeah.
Like there's not
And
very many people that outdo Andy.
like the thing that like I've noticed I see a lot, and this one actually bugs me a lot when I'm at events. Like I was at an event last year and they had this woman on stage to talk about how to do social media. She had 50,000 followers on Instagram. I can guarantee you none of those deals came from Instagram. She didn't know how to use Instagram. None of this, like when you go to her profile, if you look for more than 5 seconds, you can tell she bought probably 49,000 of those followers. The other 1,000 are
Oh,
agents from events she speaks at.
wow.
Like 50,000 followers, and it's like 100 views on a reel. and no engagement, or the likes are like names from other parts of the world that clearly don't actually do it, right? Like it's, but that's someone who like it's has I've seen been like put on stages as someone to listen to for social media. Like, but they're not doing anything. And that's where it bugs me is like when they get elevated for that and no one's done the due diligence of like, do they actually get business from it? And it just grinds my gears.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I see it a
I have
lot.
to say that for me, I've seen it in a few different places where it really bugs me, and that's with coaches that
Yeah.
can't help people change their outcome, and also with agents that are hiding what their business is
Yeah.
and talking about things because people are gambling on this with their business. You know,
Yeah.
I try a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't work. I think that if you're going to choose to follow what I do, well, buckle up because I smash a lot of stuff. That's part of my entrepreneur ability is I'm very resilient. So I take more risks, I bang more stuff, I make more
Yeah.
mistakes, but I also have a higher intensity than most of the other people that I notice.
And a risk tolerance and budget to if you make a mistake, you're not killing yourself. Like
Yeah, I
I
think that that's good decision process.
yeah.
It's
That's
that
why like
as I've been going, I've been making more wins than
yeah.
losses, and that develops me a higher budget to make more mistakes.
No.
But really, when it comes down to it, like if you are going to succeed or fail, it should be the same effort. Like if I miss the door, there should be a tailor-shaped hole in the wall next to the door. I should be going where I'm going anywhere, and if it doesn't work, it should just hurt,
Yeah.
and that's next.
I always go back to the story because I still love it. I've told it on the show of like Daryl King when he tr was looking at hiring us when I started Just Sell Homes, which is now 10 years ago. And he was like, if we're going to hire you, you have to be exclusive because everything I do, everybody copies right away. And the next sentence was, nothing I've ever done online has worked before. Right? It's like, but
Keep
because,
misleading them.
yeah, because it's 500 plus deals a year, people just
This
think, oh,
could
he
be how
must be
you're
doing it
selling
right.
so many houses, is you're
Yeah.
misleading all the other
Yeah.
agents and then
Guys, go do
scooping up the
this.
business.
Yeah, there actually is a strategy there if you're a top producer to run ads just to the real estate industry that look like they're for consumers to mislead them,
That's so funny.
take them down the path. Yeah,
The best way to make money in this market
yeah,
is to put a really high list price. It should be like a wish price. That would be the ad.
yeah,
Just telling everybody to overprice
yeah.
stuff.
I can't wait to be their second agent.
Oh man, I have to say that that's the biggest win about being highly reviewed.
Yeah,
I get to be people's second agent all the time.
yeah,
Okay, so we have been kind of moving through our process. We built the website, we reviewed that. Now that's getting leads. We are running out that tested second, like we're in the early testing phase, as Andrew described, and we're running a few videos to start finding the places where we can get traction. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. And then again, there's gonna be like what I'm looking at now is like those ads. I got a pretty good feel now for the list growth of the path forward with being able to really narrow down the testing now to just more minor optimizations besides big swings.
Hmm.
Um, and that's gonna be in pretty good shape. Then we want to kind of look at okay, then we'll have the listing video going, which that one will just take a lot of testing because like I think that one has to be video for what we're trying to accomplish with it. Because like we're trying to essentially like a text-based listing presentation won't work with a Facebook ad, I don't think. We might be able to do it as like an in-depth blog post style page as a counterpoint, but I think a video is the right way, the right move for a video like that. But I'm going to expect, candidly, the cost per lead to be pretty high on that one. I don't think that one will be cheap, but the idea being quality. And we're
Hmm.
going to retarget the hell out of that one. So like anyone who watches 50% of that video, they're going to see a lot of Taylor.
Sorry,
That
guys.
retargeting one might be an image though.
Hmm.
That's where we might do an image. And then it's looking at from there, what are the like besides like the listing ads, obviously, um, is where else like what are the next round of ads on top of that, just to kind of start because I always like to take a little bit of the budget and try new things with it and just seeing
Hmm.
what we can. once in a while something hits that you didn't expect. So I always like to do a few little, here's an unexpected thing, and let's
Hmm.
see what happens. I can test something out for 50 bucks pretty quick and see what
Yeah,
happens
it's
with it.
interesting because we were also testing an ad based on people that were shopping for acreages, right? Or shopping for.
So let me pull. I think there was. We paused that one. I have to go back and look at the note. No, we are running that one, I think. Yeah.
So to summarize quickly, what we're running
Yeah.
ads for right now is to build that list, which is a an
Yeah.
email list that's called the Insiders. We're also promoting property, so we ran some property ads, and Andrew smoked my previous
Yeah.
asset efforts like right out of the gate.
Oh yeah.
And then we started to
My
run
wife did.
ads.
She wrote that
Help
ad.
me. Now we're going to run ads to help me get listings by doing a little bit of why people should list with me.
So the ad right now that we're talking about, so it was not the so we're not running the list of homes run because remember we switched it. You wanted to switch from acreages to move up buyers.
Yes.
So I've had to double check with Amanda where we are on that one. Right now we're promoting it's more of a seller focused campaign. What would you do with it's the one what would you do with an extra 60,000?
Oh yeah. So we took my metrics and basically we took the metrics and used them in a different perspective
Yeah.
so that people could be like, oh wow, there's more money in my house than I think.
Yeah. So the idea behind that campaign is Taylor sells for 112% of list price. The average agent's areas is 98, which on an average home there, that's $60,000 more. So we're kind of painting the picture of what could you do with $60,000 more in your pocket.
And that's
Giving
something
them
that a lot of
options.
people miss in marketing is not talking about how well you can sell houses because I don't know if you've talked to the average seller, not super excited about selling their house. People are excited about buying things. They're excited to sell because then they get to go buy something.
Yeah.
But that selling side makes them feel judged, often makes them feel vulnerable. They feel as though it's high stakes because the outcome of that house is going to determine their option set for the future. So there's a few things that makes them feel apprehensive. So instead, what you want to talk about is where the actual benefit is, which is the money,
Yeah.
right?
And
And
what
they're
you can do with
focused
it.
on the money. So you being focused on the money and saying that you can change that outcome is kind of a key element.
Yeah. And like just as a general thing, like getting seller leads often the most effective from a cost point of view is actually targeting where they're going. Like where because everyone's looking more forward to the next house. Like when I sold my last house, whatever, I can sell this when I need to sell it. I'm selling if I'm finding the right place. And in a market like you're in, where everyone knows the house is going to sell and sell pretty fast, they're going to be way more concerned, especially with where am I going to go next? I don't want to be left homeless.
Yeah.
And that's
You were
like,
right. And Lisa is right in where they're looking to go next because you need that in context. So
yeah,
if they're buying something, then if they feel a lot of certainty on the sales side, they probably feel a lot of uncertainty on the purchase side.
yeah,
So that's where you're going to spend your time. If they are, if they're putting their money into some type of other investment or doing something different with it, maybe they're achieving a goal with it. Sometimes people sell houses in order to like achieve something else. Maybe they want a killer car. Maybe
yeah,
they're after a vacation property. Those types of things could also be a big, like, that's actually more important to talk about than the listing because this is the key to that big goal for them or where
yeah.
the win is.
Yeah, and this is a big part of just knowing your ideal client's motivation. Why you always gotta narrow down like this is why I like when we did our onboarding call, I'm always like, and I knew you already knew this one of like who's your ideal client. The answers I'm not looking for are anyone with a pulse or sellers.
The public is terrifying.
Yeah,
It's weird
you
it's weird, but what Andrew does for a living is that he helps people meet strangers on the internet. Like exactly
really
what your
good
mom
at it.
told you not to.
Yeah,
But you do want to filter,
yeah,
right? You can't afford to talk to everybody, and everybody is not the right fit for you. Like if you're selling a Lexus car and you invite everybody who buys lower end cars, they're
yeah,
going to basically scoff. They're going to be like, "Ah, that leather's not worth it for me." Oh, real
yeah,
wood? Who cares? The plastic wood looks fine,
yeah. Well, it's
right?
knowing like even to an example, like as we do a lot of work with some coaches where it's like guarantees are a big thing. knowing who guarantees attract, right? Like someone selling, like for example, on the extreme end, I had a client in Aspen who had a $30 million listing. I
Whew.
can guarantee you I'll guarantee to sell this or I'll buy it type of messaging is not going to work on
No.
that type of clientele. Right? Like,
So tell me exactly how you're going to
yeah,
accomplish this.
what will this do? So it's like knowing who your audience is and like tailoring your messaging to that. It doesn't mean you're not going to work with other people. Like when I was selling, I was off, my niche was first time buyers. My goal was then to like move up with them through in my career because I was like 25, 26 at the time. So I was thinking I'll just move up with them. But what that did allow me to do is like, because I remember one of my listings, my first time I was in competition in a listing and knew about it, the other agent went first and flat out said, "Don't hire Andrew. He only works with first time buyers," which was amazing. But it was such an easy counter of it was a townhome. I'm like, who do you think's buying your home?
I am connected to the market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he told you I have the buyers. Like, yeah, that was like, then he took it for 0.5%, but it's a whole other debate. Um, so I did not get that one because I didn't cut.
Hey, I'm wondering if there's like an opportunity to newsjack here.
Yeah,
Because
do it.
right now the news is that you can now finance a Costco hot dog. Have you heard this?
Klarna?
It's a
The
dollar 50 and you can make four payments on a Costco hot dog now. So I'm wondering if that should be an ad because like my demographic definitely shops at Costco and it could be something like don't be left making payments on a hot dog.
how financing your $1.50 hot dog might cost you your dream home. Don't take credit. Don't take out stuff against your that might impact your credit score.
Well, or going the other way and saying that, like,
Yeah,
if you are working with the wrong agent on the purchase side, you're going to have to pay too much, and then you might be left in a position where you have to finance hot dogs.
yeah. Please don't do this.
Yeah. You know what house poor looks like?
Yeah, you're
Four payments on a
financing a
hot dog.
dollar fifty hot dog at Costco. Okay, so have you seen the news? This is like because I know you're on Twitter too, or X. Um, how Klarna lost like $100 million last quarter.
Oh, but tell me about how it happened, though.
So they allow people to like break up payments for DoorDash and Uber Eats orders. So essentially, you're financing your burrito, and they're now losing a lot of money because like essentially they're subprime loans on DoorDash orders. But someone made a great point of um, is that like this is you're financing something that has no asset to back it. You can't give the burrito back.
Or repo it.
Yeah, like there's
Can't
no,
repo a
it's like
burrito.
who would have thought people financing a burrito might have trouble paying their bills?
No kidding, eh?
Yeah,
Huh.
that's there. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a larger play here that we're not because, like, yeah, you can do the whole. Well, Amazon lost money for how long? I don't think that's the
Mm.
case here.
Yeah,
But
this is how they're going to get people to work there. This is how
yeah,
Mucho Burrito is going to get like you have to find now we're going to be on your credit. You
yeah,
got to come wash dishes. This is
yeah,
the new way.
yeah. The other one, Klarna, I believe it was that lost money. I'd have to double check that it was Klarna. It was one of those financing companies that you can do, which normally financing's for more like if you're buying a laptop, you can finance it monthly or something like that through this, but they added DoorDash. So like, but there was a funny meme that went around the same thing. And maybe there's something here with the members. And again, we got to carefullize the messaging in a different way. But one of my favorite memes from the last little while, it's like, is your cost of living higher or did you hire a private taxi for your burrito? And then this guy going, I got a private taxi for my burrito.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
like,
world we live in now.
but there might be something there of like saving for a down payment. Maybe don't get a private taxi for your burrito.
That's a good one too.
Like something in that world. Like maybe, getting your own car.
That
What?
would be kind of a funny message. But I'm wondering like where that would fit. What business would you be in? Maybe a mortgage business?
Yeah, well, there could be something
And then you
around
have like
like,
on Sora, you make a video of like a burrito getting into a cab
so
and like
you could do
relaxing on
one
the
of
way.
like, do you want to buy your first home, but you're having struggle, but you're struggling to get a down payment together? Here's some options. And you could have like that funny example of don't pay for a private taxi for your burrito. You just got to be careful that the tone and messaging doesn't turn into like the avocado toast controversy.
I'm worried about that, but it would be kind of funny if you said,
Yeah.
"Don't pay for a private ta or upgrade from paying from a private taxi to being a private taxi for
Yeah.
your burrito."
And then at one of these places, just pick up your own meal.
Or learn how to make burritos.
Yeah. That helps too. Yeah. I just
Or
saw.
like highlighting the cost. Private ta
Yeah.
burrito delivered by private taxi. Go in to get a burrito, make it eat yourself.
Yeah. Plus, when you make it yourself, you end up with like 10 burritos.
True
But
that.
yeah, but there's also the here around like if you can see a popular meme taking off, look for ways to adapt it to your market. Don't just take it and post it. Is like because memes have this unbelievable ability on social to narrow your ideal clients into engagement with you. So like if I see a meme blowing up, it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna share this. It's, is there an angle? And again, for my business where I'm targeting realtors, it's, is there a realtor angle on this that I could do? So, like, an example of that would be White Lotus season one and Last of Us season one weren't that far apart. And there was a character in both of them. One was the manager of a essentially a Four Seasons hotel. And the second one, he's a post-apocalyptic survivor. So
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine the image of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And that went viral. It was like the before and after for different things. So I took it and put like realtor day one, realtor year seven
So
with the
good.
two, right? Like those little shifts and go a long way. So we were looking at like one of my favorite ones that went viral is like the screenshot from Jurassic Park, where it's like Jeff Goldblum trying to distract the T-Rex, and
Mm,
people started doing good memes on it. And then we took that, took off the captions that were just for Twitter, and just put when the buyer's dad shows up to the home inspection. And then you put like
totally.
me on the Jeff
My
Goldblum.
favorite when the buyer's dad shows up to the home inspection meme is that
Yeah.
dude that was on the Sea-Doo in the Tiger King.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's coming into the beach in his Sea-Doo, and it's like, oh, the
Uh,
buyer's dad is showing
I
up
I
to the home
didn't make this one, but I saw one like that with the buyer's dad at the home inspection, and it shared the guy from Firefest of like, I'll do anything to get the deal done.
inspection.
That is a bold one to share. That was pretty good. Being new to real estate
Ooh,
only 5 years. Hey, 5 years is new. Most people are 80% of people are done after two, and of that remaining 20, 80% don't make it to five. So
yeah,
you're
you
doing
are
great,
now one
Teresa.
of 13% of
Yeah,
agents
you're
in
probably one of the
existence
more experienced
with
ones
more
in
than
the
five
industry
years
now.
experience, according to the National
Yeah.
Association of Real Estate.
So I'm struggling with knowing how and where to market. So let's, well, there's an easy one because you wanted to talk a little bit about the ACE framework today. So if you want to start, first thing you do is you need your niche. That's like a non-negotiable. Who are you marketing to? Then you need to figure out a couple offers, which is they always have something to invite them to take advantage of. So it's like if you're going door knocking, you're not knocking to introduce yourself. Maybe it's I'm hosting, I send out every week a list of what's sold in this market or what's new on the market. Would you like to get the email? We always have to have something to offer them, and it should be something appealing to your niche. Then you have to create content that connects with them and that they're going to enjoy seeing, because then the more content you put out, the more people see your offer, and then you get this flow of leads coming in. But you need those three pieces to get leads coming in. You need to know who your niche is. You need to have consistent offers. Don't overcomplicate the offers or have 50 of them. Two offers and a backup that I call the double dip. That's enough. And then the third is just the content that gets more people to see it.
So Andrew's talking about an organized real estate approach where you will also pay for some ads and things like that. Now,
Not
I'm going to talk a
necessarily.
little. Okay.
Reels can do it, right? Like content
Mm,
can also be like I like content is this overarching thing that like anything you create or do can be considered to a degree content. Like the leave behind when you go door knocking, that piece of paper that you're trying to convince them of like pitch something, that's content you're creating. Most people when they hear content think like Instagram reels or vlogging or things like that. Like, yes, that is part of content marketing, but the flyer you send out is content. Anything you
Okay, so I'm going to
do
go
like
about
that.
this kind of using two ideas. One is that there's going to be things that you do to nurture people that already know you, and then there's going to be things that you do to make more people know you. We'll call that outreach. And then what you're looking to do is get more people to know you, and then get the people that know you to like you. And then all it will take is frequency of them seeing you, and you will be eligible to be the one who's trusted to do their real estate. Okay. So now we're going to start to set up like a plan around that. So the more people that know you related to real estate is what we were talking about earlier. You have to have this like relevant
No.
is key. Now, content can be looked at a couple of different ways, and I'm going to say that the lowest barrier to entry is you just want to collect evidence that you're in real estate all the time. So literally, anytime you go and show houses in each neighborhood that you go, all you do is take a picture of you yourself with real estate over your shoulder. So it doesn't have to be the house for sale. It should be like the neighborhood, like the picture down the shop or down the road.
Yeah.
Then what people are going to notice when they kind of review their stories and stuff, because this is nurture content, is like, wow, you were near my neighborhood. Oh, you were showing that house that I watch on realtor.ca. I wonder what it's like. So that'll be the way that you kind of keep your audience popping, right? The other thing that you want to do is engage their social media. So the most valuable place to win in social media is in the notification center of others. When you go to social media, you get all your dopamine from one screen. And it's the screen where you get all the dings like, oh, people liked your stuff, they watched your stuff, they commented on your stuff. That's where we get all of our dopamine. So we should be giving that to other people. We should be making good comments on their posts. We should be liking their stuff. Those types of things will make us closer to them because if you engage with other people's posts and they also follow you, they are going to be a priority, or you are going to be a priority on their feed. So when you post stuff, it's going to show up for them because you guys are engaging back and forth. That's how the algorithm works. So see how once you kind of get this popping and moving, now you can start to scale it. So all you got to do now is load more people on the bus. And that's what Andrew's talking about. Is stories are nurturing the people that already follow you. Whereas like reels and posts are outreach where you can use hashtags and the type of different content you post to get to different places. My ideal client group, they care about Costco. They go to
No.
Costco every week. So for me to talk about like the fact that you could finance a hot dog at Costco, even just saying Costco or talking about what's going on is kind of part of the vibe. That fits with them. So that's one of the ways that I can stay relevant. But after that, it's really how often are you going to be seen by them?
Yeah. And there's a million ways to kind of go about it. And like Teresa, like for you looking at it is like go all in on like one method for getting clients right now. If you're newer, I'm guessing you're probably, and I could be wrong, under 30 deals a year. It would be my
I'm gonna say
guess.
in 5 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could be over that 30, but like I think up to 50 deals a year, and 30 to 50 is my range for this, is just pick one method for getting clients and go all in on it until it's consistent,
Mm.
right? Like any one thing, if you keep working, like I always use the example of like there was a guy who blew up his business over a couple of years doing video marketing. He'd put out a video, he'd go back and look at the video and be okay, what worked, what didn't work. All right, now I'm going to make tomorrow's video better because of that. And then the next day I'm going to make it better because of that. And then the next day I'm going to make it better. If you took that same approach to cold calling, you would also blow up your business. If you took it to Instagram marketing and doing reels, you'd blow up your business. You could still do that with blogging. Like it's picking one thing, doing it really well, understanding the nuances of the method you're going with, and perfecting it and then making that work. Then once you get past that 30 to 50 range, you want to start adding in other pieces. But if you start being like, okay, I'm going to try this thing, like the hacks that are out there that everyone keeps trying, like I'm going to try this, throw this at the wall, and try this, and try this, and try this, and try this. That was not actually an intentional shot at Taylor with the hack thing. But sorry, like this, I did. I was guilty of this when I was selling. I would hear an idea and I'd be like, "Oh, I can try that." And then the next day, "Oh, I like that. I'm gonna go try that. I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna try that." And like some of them hit, and I got deals out of some of these random things, but not consistently until I took that step back to think about, okay, what is actually going to work for me here? And like what are these pieces that are making the ones work? And then I started going, that's when I went all in on like the blogging and I did Google ads and I tried to just drive as many people to my website. And then I used a list of homes to generate the leads. And that's why they reached out to me. But it was
So normally
pretty,
when you're around 10 a year, it's about tapping your sphere to the maximum. Because
yes.
like most people know 150 people that would either attend their wedding or their funeral, depending on what type of event you're going to throw next. But out of that 150 group, there's a really high potential for heartache. Like if you think about a wedding, the people that sit in the first couple of rows, those people are very connected to you. So they know you're in real estate, they know what you've done, they know that you've been accomplishing goals, that you've stayed in the industry, those types of things. But now if you go 3 or 4 rows back, those people have a lower frequency of contact with you. So right now, if you were able to put together a group of 150, it's reasonable that if you just use the tactics that we talked about for staying relevant on social media, that you would go from 10 to 15. Like a 10% conversion on that group is probably where I would push first. Once I'm done that, then I really have to do some conversion. So I have to take a look at my listing presentation. And if I'm not winning 80% of my listing presentations, then I need to change it. So I need to adjust it and A/B test it until I get over 80%. That's the time that I should be scaling that, right?
And
Don't scale it until you know it's going to work.
the other big thing, which I obviously don't know, Teresa, if this is Europe, but like make sure you understand all the ins and outs of your market, right? Like if you're talking to these people, you have to be the most knowledgeable because like this is something that I saw like with me is like when I got in, people still saw me as that kid, they were going out drinking with and doing that, so having a good time with doesn't mean they know I'm an expert in it. So I have to like put out enough stuff that they also start seeing that. And that's like today, that'd be things like Instagram stories. I'm going to show me doing the work, showing insights of things that are out there. But you have to make sure in the mind of those people, especially like if like I don't think you're in Alberta, where there's a hot market and things are a little bit different. In areas where there's a tougher market, they're less likely to go with their friend because they're worried, right? So yeah, so like in your market, it's not a super hot market right now, right? So like you want to make sure that um, you're overcoming the barrier. Like when it's a really, really hot market and the consumer's thinking, well, it's going to sell either way, I might as well throw a bone to my friend. That happens a lot. When the market tightens, that doesn't happen the same way. A lot of people start going, okay, I need to make sure I'm with the best and the person who knows it. And so
Mhm.
you have to make sure they know you know what you're doing. And 5 years in, like you should be a pretty good expert on the local market. Now it's making sure they know that. And like I love the tip from Ralph Ciancio of every time you go to like a social event, go book like 5 tours that morning in the area where it's being hosted. Like if it's like a friend's house or something like that, go find like the closest houses to it so that when you're at the party, you can like reference them or be like, oh yeah, no, I saw that house down the road and this is what I liked about it.
Ralph is a genius. We should have him
Right?
on.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh, Also, when we're talking about like who you might hire, because the question was who you could get coaching from, there's a couple of different ways to go about this. So, if you wanted coaching on a specific platform, like maybe it's Instagram, then I would probably go to somebody like Giselle Ugarte. She would be able to coach you on setting up a strategy. But if you were looking like what most people do is they're like, okay, I need a strategy, and they'll be like, all right, let's shoot some reels, and they'd be like, whoa, video, let's not do that. And that's where you would want a different person. So it depends on what you're going to try to distribute. if you were going to learn video, I might go to somebody like Tom Story. So Tom Story is out of Toronto. He has a learn to do video course that teaches shooting and editing, because you should focus on making higher quality content and then focus on distribution. Just like your listing presentation, until you can shoot videos pretty regularly, and kind of get that like be able to carry an audience, it's very difficult. So that would
Yeah.
be where I would start.
And if you're looking for a coach, I mean, obviously that has to be one that would fit whatever your budget is. Um, the different coaches have very different styles, so like it might be different ones that are right for you. Yes, but we do at 12 deals in 12 months with Instagram workshop. We don't have the next one scheduled right now. I gotta schedule one in, I think. But yes, we also do one. We just don't have one scheduled right now. That's why we're not talking about it. I gotta do that. But like some coaches specialize in teams, some specialize repeat referral, some in more direct response marketing, right? Like it's what's the style you need that kind of fits you too. And that's why it's hard to just say with what we know now, yeah, go hire this coach, go do this. You need to find kind of one that also resonates because there's a million ways to build a business in real estate. You want to build one that you're happy to run. Like that's the biggest issue. Like a huge turnover for a lot of coaches is they go to a coach, start work with them and realize I hate this style.
Oh man, there's so many
Like,
people that will go to an event where there's a heavy lead generator. Like
yeah,
I've been part of Ylopo, Curator, Perfect Storm. I've done a lot when it comes to like that web lead space.
yeah,
And they're like, "Oh, this is going to be awesome. I can see how you make so much money." And then it's like day 3 of doing actual cold call
yeah,
for conversion, and they're like,
yeah,
"I never want to do this again.
yeah.
This is brutal." And
That's
so you
literally why
have to
we launched a
find
product.
what's going to work for you.
Yeah. Like we have our listing ad product where you can just like one at a time buy an ad from us and we'll run an ad for your listing. I literally did it to avoid people buying our bigger product to test out if they'd ever want to call leads. Because I can get you enough leads in a week off a listing, you'll
Mhm.
know if you want to follow up with leads or not. And most people will get those leads in. They're like, yeah, I'm not gonna, I can't I'm not doing this. I was like, I'm like, I know you want to do referrals, you want to grow that side. So let's talk about content
Yeah.
marketing. Let's talk about that type of stuff. Like if you want higher
And there
quality
will be a
leads,
pain point in whatever method you choose. You will hit the level of discomfort, and that's where you really separate the two people that are going to do this, the people that are going to push through and not.
yeah,
So just remember, at whatever point you get to, you're going to find one thing that's the rub point. And if you are resilient to the rub point, this could be your lead generation
yeah,
method. But if you
yeah,
fold like a cheap picnic chair, well, then in
yeah.
that case, find something else.
Yeah. And think of it as like as you're doing it, it's roadblocks. It's not that it doesn't work. So like when I started in real estate, like I did it the hard way of I didn't go to enough people for help. I just trial and errored everything. And it took me a long time. So like I started like, well, I need to get people to my website. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna blog like crazy. And then I figured out, okay, my blogs aren't getting views. How can I get more views on my blogs? And I started figuring out better SEO and I started figuring out that. And then I started getting thousands of people to my website. I was like, this is amazing. And I'm like, wait, I'm not getting any leads. And I was like, crap, what can I? Because I just assumed, oh, well, if you build it, they will come. And then they came and then they didn't do anything. And then I had to figure it out. I actually had to give them something to opt in on. And then I figured out that part. Like, okay, what's the right messaging? How can I get them to do that? And then I started getting them in. And then it turns out I'm terrible at lead conversion. So I was like, now I gotta figure out how to convert leads. And so it's just like the process of like each time you hit a roadblock, you're like, "All right, I gotta figure this out now. I gotta figure this out." Or you go to people who've already figured it out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the premise of this podcast. Is if Andrew and I were living closer together, we probably would have had a successful real estate team.
Yeah.
But we didn't. Well, that ship has sailed. So now
You can
we
always
have
move to the
to talk
GTA.
about the edge of where marketing meets sales.
All
I
right.
know that today we are going to do the hot eject, meaning that normally if you hang out here afterwards, we shut off the cameras and then we or don't shut off the cameras. We don't do
No,
that.
shut off
But we
the
do shut off
recording.
the recording. Yes.
Yeah.
And then people hang out afterwards. They can ask us questions they didn't want to ask on air, and we can talk about things in a different light because this is a full family show. I'm not saying that it's like the leads are shit after dark, but kinda. So if you come by next time, you should definitely say hi. We really appreciate the people that came by this time. And I love how you put it before. You got to build the business you want to run. And right now, that's what we're doing. So we really appreciate you coming by. I appreciate you, Andrew. I like doing this show. It's a good time.
It's fun, man. We do this show even if people weren't watching. It's just a bonus that people are here because
We
we
actually
shoot the
kind
shit.
of did for a while.
Yeah,
We
that's
just
how the
have
show
missed
came about. Is we
calls.
just started doing this, and we're like, maybe
Totally.
someone would want to watch because maybe we're a little narcissist.
Hi, Mia and
See
Ryan.
everyone next week.
All right, take care,
I got to
guys.
jump to a meeting. See you guys.